What do you think? Why is America important? I've always agreed with that. I believe that the United States is the last frontier for freedom. I believe if we as a society go back to our 1776 roots, if we go back to how our ancestors were, the values they had, if we go back to innovating, creating our own stuff, one day books are going to be one of the most expensive assets just because they're going to be trying to burn all the books soon. I really believe these times we're going into a higher level of consciousness and we're being tested by God or the gods to see as to whether or not we can even communicate and get along as a society. George Orwell, 1984, that's a great book. You know, what's funny is I grew a YouTube channel to 28,000 subscribers, actually 29,000. And then, again, I started talking about politics a little bit more, got a lot more views when talking about that. And the next thing I knew, YouTube basically took my channel down. Having freedom, a constitution, a real declaration of independence. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Brendan Ecker Influence, where I teach you how to succeed, accomplish your dreams, and develop multiple income streams. Today, we're talking about why America is important. Why is America important? Why do I talk about business, entrepreneurship? Why do I talk about politics? Why even talk about America? Well, America is important because without America, you don't have the American dream. Without America, you don't have civilization, you don't have commerce, you don't have business. Yes, you'll have some form of it, but the government will always control it. You see, you'll never have full freedom like you actually could if you owned your own business. You see, in the United States, we were born to essentially work and be slaves, and that's the way the Rothschilds wanted it. What we didn't learn was that we had this ability to do so much more. We could build bridges, we could build offshore oil rigs, we could build skyscrapers, we could build the pyramids, again, if we wanted to. We could. They say it'd be impossible to replicate that, but I don't believe that. I think we could, we just don't. The reason we don't is because we've been stripped of our history, of our knowledge, of all of this technology that we could have today, that we already have. We've had it for the past 30, 40, 50 years. But the United States government doesn't want you to know about it. So, at the end of the day, why is America important? Because we can go to the moon if we want to. Because the United States of America, we invented flight. We invented all of these amazing things, commercialized it again. We came to the New World. All right, my ancestors came here from Germany, Ireland, and Scotland. All of us come from a pretty amazing history where we have this ability to carry on what our ancestors built for us. Okay? We used to have great architecture. We used to have great French Gothic architecture that you couldn't even replicate. Now, we just burn it to the ground and then say that it was an accident. Oh, only 250 years this building's been here, but somehow it just burned down. Right? Come on. At the end of the day, America is important because without this country, the rest of the world falls. America, we have this idea of independence. We built something of our own. So this country has amazing potential and we're squandering it. We have a great president who rebuilt our entire military, trying to save America, trying to save our country, trying to be a superhero, essentially. And what do? How do we repay Donald Trump? Well, we vote in a Democrat who essentially was a big supporter of the KKK. We support Israel, who essentially is trying to get our president killed right now. And yes, they are the largest financier of American government, but the problem is our world leaders have no backbone. And Trump is one of the last ones to have any backbone. He's playing a political game. Trump's playing the game. So they say. So this is the political argument. Okay, at the end of the day, I believe we're all Americans. We all have the ability to be extraordinary human beings. We all have the ability to go beyond the stars. It doesn't matter if you're black. It doesn't matter if you're white, Hispanic. It doesn't matter. But I find it so important to talk about business in particular and why business is important. Because we're living in an era where business might not be a possibility. Your government is going to try to take away your rights to start a business. Your government wants to take away your sovereignty, your real estate, everything. And from what I'm seeing, everything is looking just like it did in 2020 when Donald Trump won the election. Like, by far, won the election. But we saw that during the middle of this election, it was stolen. And again, We saw Biden's numbers go straight up at like 1:18 a.m. or something like that on the election night. And then they said, nope, voting's closed for 2 hours, 3 hours. And that's they open them again. Biden's way ahead. And then we have all these other mail-in ballots to count for months upon end. And we're just now realizing that the election was that stolen to that degree. And I remember everybody in my police academy saying, no, I believe that election I believe Biden really won. Biden really won. He really won. My police academy, half of my academy, and I graduated from 2 consecutive police academies because I struggled with the state exam. But I learned quickly that police officers, not all of them, are as smart as we thought. I was definitely educated on that from the get-go. I'm still a police officer today, believe it or not. But, I just feel like it's important to talk about it. Why is America important? That's what this entire episode's about. Why is America important? Well, without America, I wouldn't be able to write these books, Beyond the Beat, How I Made My Door My Office, 2 autobiographies about my life, how I became a college student athlete, NCAA student athlete, specifically football and baseball, how I got through the police academy, how I essentially started my first businesses and failed and spent all this money, and how a lot of these books I predicted my future, which is kind of cool too. Honestly, they will change your life because it's self-improvement. How do you be a better person? How do you be a better human being? And that's why I wanted to write these. So what do you think? What do you think? I think America is important. I think America is still a special place. I think there's something to say about being able to start your own business. I think there's something to say about being able to sell a book that you wrote, literature, something that they're going to try to burn one day. One day books are going to be one of the most expensive assets just because they're going to be trying to burn all the books soon. Books are going to be hard to get. Reading books is going to be a real thing, but it's going to be AI that writes your books. There's not going to be real authors. Brendan Scott Ecker, am one of the last real authors that actually wrote this book. I wrote it Google Docs. No AI, ChatGPT did not exist yet. And I think that's important to put on the record. These books were made by my own creativity. Also, if you are interested in growing your business, if you want to get more leads, work with Gold Shark Media, Digital Marketing, or B2B Growth Today, both digital marketing agencies focusing on different areas. Gold Shark Media focuses more on video editing, content marketing, and lead generation as well. Then B2B Growth Today, we're going to be focusing more on high-level advertising. So B2B Growth Today is more advanced, Gold Shark Media and B2B Growth Today, but we're looking for clients who actually want to grow, right? I don't care who you are. I just care about getting you better. I care about making sure that your brand is getting the notoriety that it needs. I spent hours structuring the offers for B2B Growth Today, Gold Shark Media. I'm constantly changing them because I'm trying to find an offer that everybody loves. And but right now we're running a $90 monthly lead generation plan where we'll guarantee you 5,000 leads plus 30 long form videos and then 30 short form videos with 3 long form videos edited. And we provide you a step-by-step SEO checklist, a lead generation guide, and on top of that, we also give you a PR management guide. So we give you a lot. And a LinkedIn organic, how to get leads organically from LinkedIn and Sales Navigator. So we give you a bunch of content, a bunch of value just within the $90 per month plan. It's $90 a month, and you'll literally get 33 videos a month edited for you, and you'll get 5,000 leads per month. And you'll get the full names, phone numbers, emails. You'll get websites, social media. We'll scrape them. Any leads that aren't verified, we'll make sure that our team is actually replacing those leads. You'll just have to count them up. Make sure you're keeping track of your calls. And if you want our team to do it for you, then you can pay for our more advanced plans where we essentially just put an entire full sales cycle management system for you. So again, invest. Click the link in the description below. Work with Gold Shark Media Inc. Work with B2B Growth Today, digital marketing, and we can grow your business. We can 10x your revenue. We can very easily do that with premium advertising, with content marketing, social media management, with lead generation, basic things. We just do it all, and we make it simple for you so you don't have to hire a complete team of W-2s that's just going to be too expensive. We'll be your in-house team. That's us. We're new, but we work with the best. You're going to get the best results. Look at our website. We have great reviews. We have great clients that are absolutely happy with the services, so be sure to invest. All right, let's get back to the show. So Why is it important? Why is America important? America is super important because without America, you don't have the First and the Second Amendment. Without America, you don't have your right to free speech, your right to bear arms. You don't have your Fourth Amendment, protection from unlawful search and seizures. You don't have your Fifth Amendment, which is your right not to incriminate oneself. You don't have your Sixth Amendment, which is your right to an attorney. You don't have your Eighth Amendment, which is right to due process. You don't have your 13th Amendment, which is your right to a speedy trial. Imagine a world where you don't have these basic inalienable rights like our founding fathers built for us. Instead of watching Netflix, instead of scrolling through Twitter, and remember, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking to myself too, but instead of watching Twitter and going through social media, even though it's important to be informed, take some time to read John Adams. Read the book John Adams. Read the book How the Scots Built the Modern World. Read the book Atomic Habits. These are all some of my favorite business books that encouraged me to write these books. Oh, Barbarians versus Bureaucrats is a great book I love. I'm just going off the top of my head, my favorite books. Elon Musk by Walter Isaacson, the biography, fantastic. I listened to the entire thing, the entire audiobook. It was fucking amazing. Steve Jobs, also great. I only got halfway through the biography just because I didn't want to hear. I didn't want to learn. I didn't want to read about the parts when Steve Jobs got cancer because I kind of know the end of the story. And then Patrick Bet-David, he wrote a book that was pretty good. I can't remember the exact name of it. But Gary Vee, he wrote a great book, Left, Right, Hook or something like that. I got it wrong. I think it's something like that. Maybe it's right. Maybe it's wrong. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you're a real estate investor, boom, that book will change your life. It changed my life. I was literally on patrol in my patrol vehicle. Again, I had been a cop for about a year and a half at this point, just literally hating my life. I was getting in trouble at work just because I was handling calls, not the way you were supposed to at the time. It wasn't perfect, right? But I didn't get a lot of complaints either, by the way. I am a pretty good cop, and for the law enforcement that I still do today, and might not be a cop by the time you're watching this. Again, I don't know how much longer I'm going to stay in the career, but we're just kind of talking out loud. But law enforcement it's just not the same. I can't be as much of a hero as I can when I'm here at this desk working on my businesses, getting great clients, growing great businesses, but at the same time also promoting great books, and at the same time talking about why America is good. Because I like what Warren Buffett always said, you never bet against America. Me and Charlie, we've understood through our investing career that if you really want to make a lot of money, then you need to invest in America. Yeah. Well, you never bet against America. And I've always agreed with that. I believe that the United States is the last frontier for freedom. I believe if we as a society go back to our 1776 roots, if we go back to how our ancestors were, the values they had, if we go back to innovating, creating our own stuff, right? Every time you go on Twitter X today, all you're seeing is stuff that's made from China. And they're just building stuff. They're literally learning how to build firearms in the classroom. They're learning the importance of firearms, the dangers of firearms. Imagine if our students today in school were getting a whole crash course on firearms, why they're dangerous, just like dad does when you're a 12-year-old boy, you go hunting for the first time. Your dad says, "Hey son, this is a rifle. We're going to go hunting tomorrow morning. I'm going to teach you how to clean it tonight. But tomorrow we're going to go shoot, and I'm going to teach you how to be a man. We're going to hunt this deer. You're going to gut the deer, and I'm going to teach you how to do this so you can be self-sufficient." Now, some people were never taught that. I was lucky to have a great mom. I was lucky. Yeah, my mom taught me some amazing things. But I was lucky that I had a great family also that was blue collar and rooted in America. Right. My ancestors go back to Ireland and Scotland. The McKelveys, McLeods. The McKelveys we have a castle, the McKelveys in Dunvegan, Scotland. And then the Germans, the Ecker name was once Von Ecker, and because we were landowners essentially, according to my father. They had blonde hair, blue eyes. Oh my God! And they were from originally the name apparently come from the Netherlands, Sweden, apparently some Swedish in there. So I don't know. I guess I'd have to get a DNA test. I guess the reason I haven't yet is because I don't trust Ancestry. I don't trust 23andMe, where, China, by the way, just bought 23andMe and all the data. So if anybody did an Ancestry DNA test with China, with that technology, maybe not the best move. Now China has your DNA. China can literally say that you were descended from African Americans, or you were descended, and not that that's a big deal. I'm saying not that it matters whether or not you're African American or not. It doesn't matter what race you are. It's the fact that China, now that they own your data for these DNA tests, can quite literally, if they want to, go into the records and change the records and completely change history, your entire family's DNA history. That's what I'm trying to say here. So I want to make clear that I'm not trying to be racially charged in anything I'm saying. We live in such an offensive time where everybody's always offended by everything and you're always called a racist. Honestly, I don't know how much longer my show is going to even be allowed to be on. I don't even have a lot of viewers, but I just know, like, I'm coming into this thing. What's funny is I grew a YouTube channel to 28,000 subscribers, actually 29,000, but we've lost some subscribers since. And we were doing great. We were getting hundreds views every single, and this is right from the start. We were getting hundreds of views, basic SEO. We weren't that great. And then, again, I started talking about politics a little bit more, got a lot more views when talking about that. And the next thing I knew, YouTube basically took my channel down. My channel was down for 2 years. This was around during COVID when I started exposing the vaccine stuff. I started exposing all this other stuff that was going on in the news, the media, how we were being lied to, how even my own police academy was forcing us to, they basically made us raise our hand and say, hey, which one of you guys are taking the COVID vaccines? Which ones who will be willing to get the vaccine? More than half the class raised their hands. And I'm just like, wow. Like police officers, you would think the most on people, the most focused people. No. Ugh. Been also a little bit too consumed by social media, and also a little bit too consumed by Twitter X. I gotta say, I'll admit it. Again, a lot of the time when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself. And I guess for some reason, I think it's important. You know, you might not see it in my views. It might look like I don't get a lot of views, like a lot of people don't watch me, but you'd be surprised. I have a lot of people who will message me, important people, significant people who want to come on the Brennan Ecker Influence and come on the podcast. I definitely have a following. And I guess I'm just trying to figure out how I should go about posting. Do I post more business content, or do I post more politics? Since everything's politics now, your business is now involved with politics, because if Kamala wins, she's going to take your business down. You ain't going to be allowed to have a business. There's going to be no more commerce. Could you imagine? I can, because I read George Orwell, 1984. That's a great book that I didn't mention earlier. America is important because we can do anything. We've already done it. We are the only country that has a real history of having freedom, a constitution, a real declaration of independence. And yes, throughout history, you can find different examples that will be similar. Like you can say the Holy Roman Empire was very much like the United States today. Sure. And we can always blame the Jews, and we could always blame all these different races. At the end of the day, and again, I'm not saying that there isn't a lot of evidence pointing to some of these claims. Right, particularly that the Jews control the media and the Jews control everything. That's like a big thing going around Twitter X. Honestly, that's what you'll find. That's the truth. Okay, and the sooner we admit these things as a society and spread the word, and the sooner we can talk about these issues and debate them peacefully, not destroy each other on social media and rip each other apart and have this war that we don't need to have. I really believe these times we're going into a higher level of consciousness, and we're being tested by God or the gods to see as to whether or not we can even communicate and get along as a society. What do you think? I think we can. I think we can do anything we want. And I think as long as we stay focused on the future, success, our families, and Jesus Christ, first and foremost, we can do anything, because that is the test on earth. You're battling evil, whether you like it or not. If you're an atheist, you're not woken up yet. Maybe you're woke, you're just not woke up. Because it's crazy to be an atheist. Come on, you think we're just all alone here? Obviously, that's stupid. Like, the universe is ever expanding. Clearly, there's billions and trillions of different intelligent races just like us having the same conversations with technology that's far greater than ours, and then with some civilizations throughout the galaxy, throughout the universe, that are just like cavemen, like we used to be as cavemen and Neanderthals. So what does America mean to you? Do you want to live in a free country that has laws? Do you want to live in a country where you have rights? Do you want your Bill of Rights? Do you want to live in a country where you're not learning about transgenderism and all these crazy things? You're learning about real issues around the world. You're learning about how to start businesses. You're learning how money works, how finance works. Wouldn't you rather have that than learning about all this garbage we learned about in the public schooling system? I went to a public school. And boy, was it, I was lucky. I had a good public school. I had great teachers who were smart, and we still learned about America and valued America. We still said the Pledge of Allegiance. I think I was the last generation who said the Pledge of Allegiance. I was the last. And I remember that. I remember that transition when we stopped doing that. That's how I know, because I remember specifically not doing it one day in school, and then we never did it again. And it was never a thing. Nope. Nope. I don't even remember doing it. Maybe I just have a bad memory, but we never did it in college. That wasn't important. That was a joke. People would laugh at that in college because it was all about civil rights. It was all about kneeling for the flag. It was all about learning why you shouldn't love America. That's what I learned in college, why you shouldn't love America. And that's what this book's about. How I learned why you should love America, because the system itself is against you. The system itself, and it's true. Like, yes, you can be lazy and not, you can be poor because you're lazy, obviously. Like, yes, there's correlation, but this is a broken system. We're still as good as it gets in terms of freedom, independence, having a real life, having a future, having an actual chance for sovereignty. Don't you want to live on a nice fat ranch with your wife? Don't you want to have like 7 kids? You go back in time like 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300, right around the founding of this country, and men were having 17, 20, 30 kids. It was a normal thing. It was a normal thing to have 30 kids. Isn't that crazy? And now we can't even have one. I think America is important and it's worth fighting for. And that's why I wanted to have this rant, one, for a little entertainment on your part, but also to make you think, like, boy, we could not have this country in a few months. If Kamala Harris wins the presidency, you won't have the United States of America. You won't be able to watch this video. You won't have X. You're going to see tyranny like you never have in your entire life. And it'll be like everything you learned about with World War II in school. Except this time, I don't know if we're going to make it out of it, because it's going to be nuclear war and it's going to end the entire planet. So at the end of the day, you need to vote for Trump, not because you love Trump, not because you think he's a great guy, because you think he's a powerful leader, whatever. You need to do it because he's trying to keep peace on earth. Simple as that. Even Putin said it. Even all these other countries who hate Donald Trump have said it. And they don't hate him. They only hate him, by the way, because he's smart and brilliant. They hate Trump because he's a great businessman. He's a master businessman. He's a fucking genius. Whether you like it or not, he is. Hillary Clinton and all these other people, they got their success by committing crimes and being corrupt and giving in to this disgusting system of, trafficking children and just, again, doing anything under the sun illegal. And then again, you have the Trump family. They're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. But isn't it a little just troubling that you have a president, again, who's been almost killed 3 times now? And again, the media doesn't talk about it. They're like relishing in it. They're laughing about it. They're mad that it's not successful. How disgusting. I would never wish for Joe Biden to be assassinated. Never. Never. I would never wish for a president to be assassinated. Never. Because that hurts the United States as a whole. Okay, every politician, we're on the same team. This two-party system, I gotta say, is pretty fucking stupid. I don't understand it. I don't know why we need it. I've never understood the Republicans versus Democrats. What a great way to keep people divided. But all I know is America is coming to a close if we don't choose wisely, correctly, if we don't start businesses, if we don't start getting smart about the system we actually live in, the world we actually live in, if we don't start taking action on making the world a better place and making America safe, making your families individually safe, but also putting these politicians and these career criminals out of power. Until that happens, we're never going to have true freedom. And that's the sad thing. That's the sad thing. I and it's I it makes me sad because I think about if I ever do have a son or if I have a daughter or whatever, if one day I ever have kids and they have to grow up in a world where they will blame me for how their world is. And it really gets to me. It really does. Because we could be so much more as a society. We could be so much more for our family. We could be so much more than we are today. This can either be a great reset or a great awakening. The United States of America can either be at its last stand and its last breaths, or the United States of America can be at the very beginning of its story. I like to believe that America is at only at the beginning of this story. I believe that there can be world peace. I believe that all of the different religions, all of these different factions of society, whether it be Wall Street, whether it be the banks, the politicians, whatever it is, I believe everybody can get along. I believe there's a solution out of this. There's a way that we can all get what we want without having to blow up the planet. I think it's just insane at this point to go in this direction any longer. How about we all just get along? How about we support freedom? How about we support having a future and food on our plates? How about we support building and creating jobs and capitalism again? How about we support having a conservative family, having lots of children, but also being liberal minded, being open minded, not a leftist, but open minded, liberal, the classical liberal. That's what I want. That's what I want for my kids. You know, I want a future where I'm able to live on a ranch. I'm able to exchange my cryptocurrency with independence and financial freedom. I want a future where I'm able to have lots of animals that are healthy. I want food that doesn't have GMO in it. And I want to bring my kids to church every Sunday where we talk about Jesus Christ, where we talk about God, where we talk about the devil, because in order to defeat the devil, you talk about him, where we study Satanism so we know how to defeat it, where we study politics. We study all of these things. This is what Christianity should be. The Christians are the leaders of the world. Maybe we have an opportunity to transcend. You tell me. If I'm right, leave a comment. If I'm wrong, ignore all of this. Chances are I'm going to get like 12 views on Twitter with this. I'm not going to get a lot of views. Chances are this will probably fade into the archives and it'll be one of those channels that was a bum channel and it didn't win, it didn't succeed. But at the end of the day, at least I know I tried. It's real estate, hospitality, or something, politics, lobbyism, building podcasts. I still love growing businesses. If you have a business, be sure to work with B2B Growth Today or Gold Shark Media. And if you want to buy my books, also be sure to buy those. You can get them on Amazon for, I think, $19 and then $20 paperbacks. And then the ebooks are $9.99 and the Kindle versions are like 99 cents. So you can get them cheap if you're smart and if you go through those little loopholes. America is an important place. Again, we went to the moon. We founded many, many different areas of this country. All right. Yes, the Native Americans had it first, but we built commerce. We built civilization here in the United States. We created these states. Okay. And at the same time, we also created government. We created law and order. We created the iPhone. Honestly, We created the automobile. Like, what else is there? You know? Like honestly, what else is there for America other than innovation in Christ? Because if we can master those two things, how can you really lose? So, love your country, love America, fight for America, and see the truth. Understand that it's the globalists, okay? It's the CIA, the FBI, the ATF, top of the line of these agencies. It's the NSA. It's the White House. It's the Department of Justice. It's Wall Street. Yes, the billionaire class as well. It's the media. It's the banks. It's everything. We're all trapped in this matrix, and we have a decision as to whether or not we want to get out of it. I personally just want to get out of it. I want to have a good life. I want to be able to have these discussions without having to worry about my family getting shot by some random illegal immigrant who comes over our border just because a bunch of corrupt politicians let it happen. Well, I'm not going to let my country go to shit. Not when my country was founded by amazing people. Not when my ancestors bled and died for this country. And this isn't about heritage, it's about humanity, and it's about respect and respecting those before us. And the least we can do as a society is try to get along. Try to get along. No more tribalism. No more, it doesn't matter who's in charge of anything. As long as we know who's really in charge, which is Jesus Christ. And then, of course, Satan as well. Satan is in charge of planet Earth. Make no mistake about it. We were sent here to planet Earth so we can be tested and so we can understand the world, so we can be tested and so we can prove our faith to God, to Christ. Can we take it? Can we remain faithful when the illusion of life is put over our eyes? Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for listening to this episode. I want to thank you for tuning into this show. Be sure to stay prudent, stay powerful, stay wealthy, and stay safe, as the world's coming to a time where things are dangerous. People are dangerous. And we have to stick together. We have to believe in God. We have to believe in Christ. We have to believe in each other, ourselves, and our abilities. We have to be able to innovate and not be afraid to fight for what we believe in. Otherwise, it will be taken from us and we will be conquered as a nation. And I really believe we're beyond that. It's time to go conquer planets. It's time to go conquer galaxies. Enough fighting. Enough.